something slightly different in this recording, in that I've discovered that my Logitech Webcam Pro 9000 has broken, or otherwise it's refusing to work with my Windows 7 computer. So I'm going to have to buy a new webcam, and I need to get something fairly inexpensive because I'm being eaten alive by fleas, cat fleas at the moment. Sorry if that's not a very relaxing thing to hear, but I can't do a blooming thing without being bitten. Next week, when a friend of mine comes back from holiday, I'm going to take my cats to the vets to be given program injections. But until then, the fleas are increasing by the day and biting me more and more and more. Unfortunately, I can't do what I would have done with Samantha and Polly, and that's just put Frontline on them, because the cats I have at the moment are semi-feral. Don't like being handled very much, which makes it a nightmare to get them to the vet, and also makes it a nightmare to treat them. But the vets and their nurses seem to be very good at either putting them in crush cages or holding them down. Anyway, back to what I wanted, which was recommendations for cheap and effective webcams. At the moment, I've got my eye on the Logitech C310 and the Logitech C525, neither of which seem to be costing too much on Amazon. The C310 is cheaper, but it lacks some features. On the other hand, I've watched videos made with both of those webcams, and to be honest, the ones made with the C310 seem to be better than those made with the more expensive webcam, which has things like face tracking and autofocus and all the gadgets that go with Logitech webcams. You know, the arrow through the head, the false beards, crowns, things like that, and the strange avatars. But I've never really used those, but I do tend to use webcams for pictures, although I use stills from the videos rather than actually take pictures with them, because I find that if I want a picture of a cat, that cats actually look better in video stills than they do in pictures. When I've tried to take their pictures with a proper camera, they've always had strange white eyes, or they see the camera and they get startled, and so they look really, really frightened. Whereas they get used to the webcam and the recording and start to take no notice. I did ask a friend of mine, because it's my birthday in a few days. I did ask a friend of mine for a webcam for my birthday, and I told him I didn't want a particularly expensive one. Unfortunately, he's got a bee in his bonnet at the moment, and he bought me a really naff webcam, which looks absolutely awful. It's made by Trust, and it's called Excess Chat Pack, and I tried it out, and it's grainy. It's got one of those focuses that you have to actually twiddle at the front, so you have to turn the lens at the front, and it's one of those sort of round cyclops things. And although the microphone which came with it was quite nice, the picture was absolutely awful. And I've told him what I thought about it, but and he said to me, well, you said you only wanted a cheap one. And I said, yes, but I didn't expect you to spend only, kind of £8 on it. I was thinking more in the region of £25 or something like that. That's what I call a cheap webcam, as webcams go. I hate to be ungrateful about presents that people buy me, but as I say, it does have a very nice microphone with it, and I shall continue to use that, although I shall never use the webcam. So it still leaves me in need of a webcam. I doubt very much that he'll buy another one, because he seems to be upset with me at the moment for reasons I find hard to fathom, but I won't go into that too much. I'm sorry if you can hear noise from outside, but it's early morning and there seems to be a lot of activity going on out there, even though there are no students. They've all gone home at the moment. It's either a builder or sounds a little like an old-fashioned milk cart, but I doubt very much that we have milk deliveries around here. And I think that's about all that I have to say for this video. But please, if you have experience with a good webcam, which is up to about £30 in price, and really not much more than that, and I usually buy stuff from Amazon rather than anywhere else, because I find their stuff is cheaper than the shops and cheaper than the recommended retail price. And I hope that you're all keeping well, and thank you very much for your patience in the long gap that there's been between this video and the previous video. But I had labyrinthitis and various things, and generally not being well, but I'm fine now. So I'll hope to see you again in the near future, and you might actually see me on camera if I can get one up and running. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.